Sorry, I'm cheating. Looking at the date on my computer, even though I stated it once today in a video already. Um, make sure I didn't get it wrong. It's the 16th of 2023. This is 5 days away from the winter solstice. Winter solstice will have the least amount of light any day of the year. However, every day thereafter, light will increase just a little bit. And you know what? It's when you get up before the sunrise and you're out walking and you're immersing yourself in nature, you see that difference. You feel that difference. That even it starts off. It's less than a minute actually. I think today the sun came up at 7:19. Um, when I'm walking, it's usually before 5. You can't tell the sun's coming up, but there's a lightness to the sky. It's still dark. You don't see a sunrise, but there's a sense that light is near. And as that grows closer now, it increases. The same as when the light diminished. Of course, it's drastic once the daylight savings time ends or begins, which, by the way, in case anyone was interested, I am fully against. And it just demonstrates the illusion of time itself, that it is a man-made, literally man-made thing. And it just doesn't make sense any longer. If it ever did, it really is to fit our routines within a schedule. It's against the actual biological drive of what we're meant to do, how we're meant to live. In farmers' days and cowboy days, they'd say from can see to can't see. You work from when you can see to when you can't see. Pretty simple. And of course, then working was a little different. Even sustenance farmers did not toil through the day. Passages in the Bible on how to live, and it is instructing us not to toil. That we work in alignment with nature. I don't know if I have it handy or not. I usually do. If anyone wants a good book on success, measured in a different fashion, completely different fashion. I read this in 93. I read it when it first came out, 93. I'd have to look and see when it was published. The book is, and it didn't come out backwards, The 7 Spiritual Laws of Success, Deepak Chopra. This one is actually signed to Eric and Mocha from Deepak Chopra. I think anyone who pops in to say hello to me knows who Mocha is and knows what Mocha means to me. It was published in 94, and I read it in 94, and it completely changed my life. My tentative path of yoga and meditation settled into an actuality. How I was going to live my life began to settle. Things didn't become concrete until still a little bit later, but in the 80s, I was reading, I think I mentioned as a kid, reading Carlos Castaneda, books on mysticism, books on shamanism, Native American lore, all kinds of stuff like that. Even books by Osho, who was, I can't remember his original name any longer. So it was always there. I taught myself yoga, aspects of yoga at a young age. I was like 11 years old. And in the 80s, having read Paramahansa Yogananda's Autobiography of a Yogi, set me on the path of being a yogi. But it was the 7 Spiritual Laws of Success, looking for success, namely how to make money. That was my measurement at the time. and it was making money, hopefully through creative means, through my writing. Um, but if not, to make it any way that I could. That was my measure of success. Fortunately, it changed. Nothing the matter with making money. That's one of the things that maybe we'll talk about today. But first, we're going to say hi to our friend Destiny Forever Walks, PhD. Happy Saturday, Eric. How are you? I'm good. She says she is here listening to your discussion. What I appreciate about you being here is, one, that you listen, which is always appreciative very much. And two, you always provide such keen insight that helps me formulate my thoughts, my ideas, always inspiring as well. Not to mention that you've been a model for me in how I want to approach a lot of the shorts that I'm doing, reading my newer work and older work as well, inspired by the shorts that you put out. Um, it just seemed like a viable way of adding content. Um, so yes, Deepak Chopra, 7 Spiritual Laws of Success. Again, it doesn't necessarily mean success as in making money. However, it also doesn't diminish the need that we have for financial means, financial success. Deepak himself is certainly a financial success many times over. And I've met him many times at book signings, after talks. I mean, I could walk up to him right now and he wouldn't have a clue who I was. But every time I did meet him, he was very humble and very gracious, very kind to both myself and Tomoka. Same when I met Wayne Dyer a few times, Marianne Williamson, Neil Donald Walsh. All of them were very gracious, very humble. So let's go. I'm just going to do a quick, I don't want to talk too much of the 7 spiritual laws. We might do that on another discussion. But the 7 spiritual laws, and you use one per day, and then they all blend to this rhythmic structure to our days. The law of pure potentiality, which I've talked about quite a bit. Pure potentiality is the aspect of nothingness, the aspect of particles, the aspect of atoms, molecules, cells. They can become whatever is needed to become for the evolution and continuation of consciousness itself, of life itself. If atoms can do that, if particles can do that, if nothingness itself can vibrate a particle into existence, particle being neither a wave nor pure energy until it's needed to be something. And we're made of that. We are that. Well, then we literally are a demonstration of the law of pure potentiality, and we can use that within our own lives. The second is the law of giving. I think we all know that, and that's one thing I do want to come back to in a little bit. The law of karma, or cause of effect. We often think of karma as punishment, as justice, as revenge even. You'll see someone on Facebook say, I believe in karma and my ex-boyfriend's going to get his one day. That's not karma. That is revenge. That is you thinking that he deserves your punishment. Of course, you could be the result of that. He could be the result of your karma. That he came into your life, or hers, whatever the case may be, as whatever. Karma is too intimate, intrinsic, and everything that happens within the universe to be one thing, to say that it is revenge. It's just simply not how the universe works at all. It's not how karma works. And 4, the law of least effort, which happens to be my favorite. It's a very Taoist and Vedic concept that it is always the least effort. You don't see, going back to quantum physics, You don't see emptiness straining to become form. You don't see a cell straining to become lung tissue. You don't see a molecule straining to become a cell. The universe operates under grace, which means we operate under grace. Law 5 is the law of intention and desire, that everything comes from intention. Everything comes from intentionality and desire, including the universe itself. The universe had to intend to expand. That singularity of existence, pure energy, nothingness, somehow got agitated by desire to be more. And that agitation became the universe. The law of detachment, meaning we don't interfere. Allow the universe to take shape. Put that intention in place. This is my intent. And then allow the universe to handle the details. Doesn't mean you don't have to work somewhat, but it means that you work with that intention and you surrender. In AA, let go, let God. And the law of Dharma, or purpose in life, and I've talked quite a bit about Dharma, how everything has a Dharma, and it's not set. You didn't come here for one specific reason. You came here for the specificity of being and expressing. And there are paths of alignment that we can step within where we are on purpose. We're doing what we should be doing, which of course could change. Let's get back here to the conversation. Destiny says, thanks, Eric, for the kind words. Likewise, my dear friend. I'm always learning something new when I sit under your teachings. Thank you. It's kind of you to say. And great analogy of the universe. So those are the 7 spiritual laws of success. And again, for me, it was a game changer. And since then, and we're talking 94, great changes have occurred in my life. Of course, some good, some bad. As well, my ideas of success have sort of changed a little bit. But it's always been a keen desire of getting by in life through means of my own creativity. Writing, things along those lines. In the last few years, things have gotten quieter. I've truly lived my life, one as a caregiver for first my mom with my dad, and then my dad. And since then, and really since COVID, and then putting my own business aside at the time to make sure that my dad was going to be safe, all I want to do is take care of the bills and live a very simple, creative life. I don't need a lot. I have a house that's paid for. I have taxes, utility, food, and an occasional book. As you can see from behind me, I have a great love of books. If I had to choose between eating less and having some money to buy a book, I would eat less and buy a book. Spending time in nature. So my definition of success has softened. I don't need a fortune. I don't need riches. I don't need anything fancy. I don't need a fancy car. I'd like to pay my bills, and I would like to do so in a creative fashion. Meaning, at first it was my blog, which I still keep, and I always will. I write in it daily. I have for 20 plus years since I first came online. But so here's the question, and Destiny's, you're a good person to help address this. Is it possible, conceivable, for an average person who's not flashy, who's technically deficient, doesn't have a lot of fancy camera equipment, and if he did, wouldn't know how to use it. Can you make a viable living? Now, let me state that for me, making a living, let's say paying my bills, you can't make a living. We live. We're already made. Our living is handled. So let's strike that from the conversation, making a living. Can bills be paid with a little bit left over through a creative process, putting your content, whatever it is, out there? And let's say specifically for this conversation, can we pay our bills through what we're doing on YouTube? Destiny says the law of attachment is that we don't interfere. Yes. When you are dependent on something or someone to make you feel good or worthy, you are attached to them or it. Yes, indeed. Also, when you are attached to an outcome, when you say that if I do A and B and I must have C, or A and B don't matter at all, then you're attached to the outcome. You're attached to that specific outcome. And who knows what's in store for you and how it's going to play out. Trust that there's an intelligent process to the universe. We can call that intelligent process God. We can call it love. We can call it isness. It doesn't matter what label is given. But there's obviously, the universe itself is intelligent. We are the universe, as both Destiny and I have reiterated quite a few times in our conversations to each other and others who might be here listening. And I don't mean that in we are the universe in this like new age type of, metaphor. I mean that in the literal sense. There is no place where my hand ends and the universe begins. It's just universing, one song, singing everything into existence. When I cease to be for whatever comes after, here's what we know for certain. The atoms that make up my body, the molecules that make up my body, will go on to become something other. That right now, I have atoms in my body that used to belong to Michelangelo, that used to belong to Moses, that used to belong to any living figure, Mozart. And that one day, the atoms that consist of me will be something other entirely. Maybe a leaf, maybe the tip of an antenna on a caterpillar. Maybe one day I'll metamorph within a cocoon and be part of a butterfly. Infinite potentiality. And that's just my cells. We're not talking about the possibility of the essence of who we are, the energy of who we are. What that goes on to become, I don't know. But let's see. Destiny says nature's my favorite habitat. Mine as well. And Destiny says we grow as we know. Capital no, by the way. And we live as we heal, capital heal. If people can learn the knowledge and apply it to their lives, then yes, they can survive and build substantial income. I like that. Thank you. I had thought when I built my blog, I updated it a few years ago. I monetized it. But I have a decent readership, which I'm happy. People come to seek the things that I write. It's always nice. And it's what I've always wanted to do, was be some kind of writer, my own type of writing. And it's been like I've spent my entire life trying to find that authentic voice. I'm going to use an analogy I use often. Um, bring up Michelangelo again when he was asked how he sculpted David from that single block of marble. And he said, David was always within the stone. I just took away everything that was not David. So I feel like when I write, I love having a very sparse style of saying just what needs to be said and saying it in such a way, lyrical prose, letting those words flow together. Oftentimes, I can write a complete essay, but if I only have one phrase, a string of words that strike me as beautiful, then everything that I've written is worthwhile. That's all I want to do. See that emptiness of that page, the pure potentiality of that page, and receive inspiration from wherever inspiration comes from. Inspiration in spirit is the literal meaning of the word. That words come from thoughts. Thoughts are energy. Energy is a vibration. Vibrations come from nothingness, spirit. So you sit the pure potentiality out of those pure potentiality of that page, that whole process of thought to energy to vibration to nothingness, channeled down into a word that you use in a creative fashion and put it on a page with a couple other words, and somehow it comes together to make meaning, invoke beauty. I can't think of anything better in my entire life. Anything that I'd rather do. And then to have some read that and say, wow, or even that was nice. I like that. And it's the same when I come here to talk. I'll spend 40 minutes talking, and maybe only one thing that I say makes any kind of sense whatsoever. Maybe one sentence inspires someone, and the rest is just garbled gibberish. That one thing somehow inspired. Completely worth it. Completely worth the entire talk. And it doesn't even have to be for me. Destiny Forever Walks might type something on the screen that completely blows me away. And that entire 40 minutes or an hour, however long we talk, completely worthwhile. Our new friend, the real DJ Fruit Loops, is here. Welcome, my friend. I hope everyone is having an awesome day. Thank you. I hope you're having one as well. Destiny is asking, Eric, do you have a podcast or a vlog? I think you would fit into those medias very well. I don't, although I guess I take YouTube as my vlog. I'd like to have a podcast. I mentioned before, I'm technically deficient. If I have to press more than one button, then I'm hopelessly lost. Whenever I get a new cell phone, it takes me months to finally adapt myself to the cell phone. So I don't know how I would approach doing something that technical. But I'd love to have some type of podcast where I could talk to, I'd love to talk to you guys in person, face to face, and have, a talking dialogue. I think something really inspiring would come out of things like that. And Destiny is addressing the real DJ Fruit Loops, asking him how his day is. So, again, my needs are small. Pay some bills, buy some food, buy a book. One day, maybe I'll return to doing some races, ultra races, stuff like that. But very simple. I could probably, if I made $1,500 a month on YouTube, I would consider myself in a solid financial position. If I made $2,000 a month on YouTube, I would actually consider myself well off because my overhead is so low. Aside from those taxes, the few debts that I have, one is a result of getting some dental work taken care of last year. Another is an old bill that I've been paying off for a while. Other than that, I'm good to go. I always think if I absolutely had to, I could put my backpack on my pack, head out on the Appalachian Trail, and spend my days hiking from Georgia to Maine, and then turning around and going from Maine back to Georgia. There's a lot of freedom in having little needs. As a matter of fact, if we can all get to that point, that's the whole meaning of Jesus saying that it's easier for a camel to pass through an eye of a needle than it is for a rich man to enter the kingdom of heaven. Not because it's bad to be a rich man, but the rich man is hoarding and trying to take the things that can't be taken into heaven. Anything you hold on to, you're eventually going to lose. But if you're willing to give anything away, if you're willing to give everything away, you're free. And it also means that you have ultimate trust in the universe to give you more of what you actually need. In a creative universe, are you ever limited? Can you ever be limited? If everything is being created now in the moment, what do you need? That would be the metaphor of loaves and fishes, how Jesus fed the crowds. And here's an amazing thing. The demonstration of those miracles was Jesus serving the poor. Jesus in service to others. That seems to have been forgotten. That miracles, past miracles, were all based upon the service of others. It wasn't manifesting a fortune. It wasn't manifesting a mega church. It wasn't manifesting a car. People made their miracles by being service to someone else, specifically being in service to those in the greatest need. And we could say, what is the greatest need? Does going on YouTube fulfill anyone's greatest need? I'd say yes, that we're in a spiritual deficit. We're in an inspirational deficit. We're in an true information deficit. It doesn't mean that we don't feed people as well. It doesn't mean that we don't offer shelter as well. It doesn't mean that we're not kind to others, but it also means that we're able to provide the things that only we can provide. I can go on YouTube and have this talk. Maybe it'll make a difference to someone. I can go, here's what I know. I can go and watch a video, a short of Destiny Forever Walks on her treadmill, and it'll make me smile. It'll make me feel joy. It'll give me a sense of joy. I'll walk away feeling a little better about everything. I'll feel better in the fact that in the entire universe, there is a person who loves to get on her treadmill and dance with a smile and offer it to people. That's a pretty big gift. That's a gift of inspiration. Destiny says, I'm not a computer techie either. Eric, I just go in the direction of my spirit as it guides me to work whatever needed to be done. It's my principle as well. The spirit within teaches me what I don't already know, what I don't always know. Excellent way to look at it. I think my spirit within is also technically challenged. So I'm enjoying doing what I'm doing so far. It's been slow. But who am I to judge the speed of anything? But when you do that, what's the comparison? And is it a fair comparison? You know, you think about it, 360 people willing to watch someone do burpees in their basement for even a minute is pretty impressive. 360 people willing to listen to me talk about things that honestly a lot of people don't have an interest in is pretty good. So without those comparisons, you know, take away those comparisons and you're happy. It's when we add those comparisons. Well, this guy has this many followers, this guy is making this much money, this person is doing whatever. Then we become miserable because we're judging ourselves and we're judging others. And that's not the way of joy. That's not the way of happiness. No sparrow looks upon another and says, well, that sparrow has a better nest, a bigger worm, more eggs, can fly higher. It's not even a concern. And yet every sparrow has a song to offer. Dusty says, it really shows on your face that you enjoy what you're doing. You are doing amazingly well, Eric, amazingly well. Thank you. I appreciate that. Milka said something similar. She enjoyed watching the talks because every so often I look like I'm having a lot of fun and animated, which is a word, animacy, that I've been talking about quite a bit. And I wrote it in my blog yesterday about animacy. Animacy is a grammatical term. And it, see if I can bring it up real quick. I was going to read some of it tonight when I do a short. All of my writing is pretty short, an essay, lyrical prose, but probably just a little bit too long to do as a entire 1 minute short, just a little bit. And I'd have to read it fast, and then you lose something in the meaning when you read something too fast. But animacy is then a grammatical distinction that we give to objects to discern the amount of their aliveness. And to me, you know, I mentioned the irony of me writing about any grammatical law, any grammatical issue whatsoever, as much to my mother's dismay and every nun that ever taught me in grade school. I have little use for any grammatical rule whatsoever. I write intuitively by how something sounds and what it invokes, how it makes me feel, and hopefully how it makes someone else feel when they read it. And if it breaks a grammatical rule, so be it. And to me, it seems a heightened sense of arrogance to use language to judge the aliveness of an object when everything is alive. Everything is made of the same thing that we are, to certain varying degrees. Everything has the 5 basic elements. Everything is made of cells, everything is made of molecules, everything is made of atoms and particles. So who are we to say that a rock, because it vibrates at a denser level, moves slower, vibrates slower, is less alive than the perceiver, which is ultimately you and I. The real DJ, it says that he is back. Had to go in the room real quick. I appreciate you being here. So, yeah, animacy. It's a beautiful expression, and what I find is that animacy is intrinsic to all life, and that everything is alive. Everything makes a noise. Everything hums. We just have to learn to listen. We listen to the hum of the universe. Science is actually the uh, cosmic background. That space that used to be between channels on old TV sets, that's cosmic microwave background. The hum of the universe is what the rishis heard when they sat and meditated deeply. And they heard that great sound of Om. Om is the sound of manifestation itself. Everything is vibrating into existence, and that vibration is Om. So when we meditate and we have our personal vibration that is aligned with that cosmic microwave background, the great Om, and then our personal vibration that accompanied us from the unmanifest to the manifest, we are realigning ourselves with that creative potentiality. That's how things come into existence. That's how things are manifested. It's how the universe came into existence. Writing on a song. The thing that amazes me with the Big Bang, with creation itself, there was absolutely no time and space until it was needed, and the universe created it as needed. We can't even fathom no time and no space. It's just, it's too little, too less for us to think about. Absolute nothingness. No time, no space, nothing. Not even the concept of nothing. That's how dense that nothingness is. And then the universe expanded, and in that expansion, the instant realization that it needed time and space, and created it as it went. And it's still creating it now as the universe is still expanding. And as we've mentioned several times already, just in our brief conversation, the fact that we are that universe means that we're the continuation of that expansion, which means that we are given license of creative design. That same nothingness becoming something, or displaying itself as something, is a better word. Because when we say nothingness becoming, then it implies there's no longer that nothingness. And as it says in the Buddhist Sutra, the Heart Sutra, emptiness is form, form is emptiness. The key word in both of those is. Emptiness is form. It's not saying emptiness was form and is now something other. Is at the same time. So, all right, guys, it is coming up on 40 minutes, which I do my best to hold myself to anywhere from like 20 minutes to 40 minutes in a talk, because I always figure it's just enough time for people to come by and say hi, engage in a conversation, but it doesn't become a burden on the day for any of us. So, Destiny, as always, I appreciate you being here. I appreciate your insights and everything that you bring to our conversations, everything that you bring into my life, and everything you bring into your YouTube channel. And I'm really happy to make the acquaintance, a new friend, the real DJ Fruit Loops. Very much appreciate you being here and taking the time to, one, subscribe and leave a nice comment, and then just come here and join the conversation is actually pretty cool. So thank you. I will see you guys tomorrow. I'm going to do some burpees. You don't know what yet, but I know it'll be burpees. Destiny Forever Walks brings up one of my favorite Buddhist teachers, Thich Nhat Hanh, provides an excellent illustration of the Buddhist concept of non-self. Emptiness is always empty of something. Exactly. And it stays inherently that throughout. That becoming something doesn't negate its emptiness. In fact, it enhances the emptiness, which is why I love the British philosopher Douglas Harding, when instead of using the term emptiness, he loves to use the word capacity, because capacity serves. Capacity is the essence that can hold all things. So when we realize our own sense of emptiness, what we find is that we're not necessarily empty of a self, is that we are capacity for the appearance of a self. And yet the self is ever and always an appearance and not, in essence, an actuality. It isn't a solid thing. It isn't a lasting thing. But capacity itself is forever. So thank you for that last bit of wisdom, Destiny. Much appreciated. So the Real DJ Fruit Loops, which is an awesome name, by the way. I hope you make a habit of stopping by and saying hi. Again, I very much appreciate it. And Destiny says, okay, thanks for the great discussion and the words of wisdom. Great teacher. Thank you. I appreciate that. And I think I'm going to amend that to say that great teachers, because I learn so much just from the conversations that we have. And everyone who stops in is bringing something that is greatly appreciated. So thank you guys. And I'll see you tomorrow. I hope everyone enjoys the rest of the weekend. Take care, guys.